You have to understand something. Growth and comfort can't coexist. You can't expect to become the person you're meant to be while still surrounding yourself with people who keep you small. At some point, you've got to make a decision that most people will never have the courage to make, the decision to isolate yourself, not because you hate anyone, not because you think you're better, but because you've realized that the environment you're in no longer matches the person you're becoming. When you start to evolve, it's not glamorous, it's quiet, it's lonely, and it's supposed to be. You'll start noticing that the conversations you used to enjoy don't hit the same anymore. The jokes you used to laugh at now feel empty. The nights out that once felt like fun now just feel like a distraction. You start to see through it all, the gossip, the fake positivity, the endless cycle of complaining without change, and you realize none of that is for you anymore. That's the moment most people pull back. Because isolation is uncomfortable. Nobody wants to sit in silence with their own thoughts. Nobody wants to face the truth that maybe, just maybe, they've been wasting years pretending to belong somewhere they've outgrown. But that discomfort, that's where transformation happens. That's where the version of you that everyone underestimates begins to wake up. When you isolate, you strip away everything unnecessary. You stop trying to impress people who don't matter. You stop explaining yourself to those who will never understand your vision. You stop playing small to make others feel big. You start focusing, really focusing for the first time in your life. You'll notice how much energy you used to waste on meaningless conversations. How much time you gave to people who didn't deserve it, how much validation you sought from people who weren't even rooting for you, and when all of that noise disappears, you start hearing something you haven't heard in a long time, your own voice. That's the real power of isolation. It reconnects you with yourself. It forces you to confront the things you've been running from, your insecurities, your fears, your weaknesses, but also your potential. Your hunger, your purpose. You begin to see who you really are without the opinions, without the distractions, without the masks, and that clarity, that's priceless. It's in those long nights when no one's texting you, when no one's calling, when no one's watching, that's when real progress happens. Because there's no applause in isolation, there's no validation. There's no instant reward. It's just you, your vision, and the grind. And that's what separates dreamers from doers. Most people quit when the attention disappears. The greats, they thrive in silence. You have to understand that isolation isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every successful person you look up to has gone through it. They had to distance themselves from the noise to hear their own calling. They had to walk away from crowds to find clarity. They had to say no to comfort to make room for growth. It's like a seed, it has to be buried in darkness before it can grow. That darkness, that isolation, that stillness. It's what makes you stronger. It's what teaches you patience, self-discipline, and resilience. You learn to rely on yourself. You learn to build your own momentum. You learn to trust the process even when it feels like nothing's happening. At first, people will think you've disappeared. They'll joke about how you've gone ghost. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right, because while they were distracted, you were transforming. While they were chasing validation, you were building foundations. While they were waiting for the weekend, you were creating a future. You'll start noticing something else too: peace. The kind of peace that comes from not being accessible to everyone. The peace that comes from saying no without guilt. The peace that comes from knowing you're on your own path, and not everyone is meant to walk it with you. And when you start showing results, the same people who doubted you will start asking how you did it. They won't understand that your success was built in silence in those months or even years when no one was cheering you on, when you were working late nights, reading books, improving your craft, training your body, upgrading your mind. They won't see the discipline, the tears, the loneliness. They'll only see the glow up. That's why isolation is misunderstood. People think it's about being alone, but it's not. It's about alignment. It's about choosing peace over popularity, purpose over pleasure, vision over validation. You'll learn that not everyone is supposed to come with you to the next chapter. Some people are only characters in a certain part of your story. Once their role is done, it's okay to turn the page. It's okay to outgrow people who choose not to grow with you. You can love them and still move on. You can wish them well and still walk your own path. And here's the truth: isolation won't last forever. One day, you'll meet others who are just as focused, just as hungry, just as driven as you are. But to find them, you have to first become that person yourself. You attract what you are. If you're still lost in distraction, you'll only find more of the same. But if you're operating from discipline and purpose, you'll naturally draw in others on the same wavelength. So don't fear isolation, embrace it, use it, let it refine you, not define you, because the moment you stop running from being alone, you start running toward your destiny. Remember this: isolation creates elevation. The silence that feels empty today will one day echo with success. The loneliness that stings right now will one day be replaced with freedom, and the people who think you've changed, they'll finally see that you didn't change, you leveled up. Everybody wants to glow up. Everybody wants to change their life, look better, make more money, become that person. But very few actually want to do what it takes, because the truth is the real glow up isn't about looks, followers, or possessions. It's about discipline. It's about doing what needs to be done when nobody's clapping for you. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the quiet flex, the one that doesn't need to be posted on Instagram. It's waking up before the sun rises while everyone else is still dreaming. It's saying no to short-term pleasure so you can say yes to long-term freedom. It's turning off your phone when the world is screaming for your attention and sitting down to build something that actually matters. See, most people chase motivation. They wait for that perfect burst of energy, that perfect mood, that perfect day to start, and that's exactly why they never go anywhere. Motivation is a spark, it fades. Discipline is the engine, it keeps you moving when the spark dies out. The people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, they're not motivated every day, they're disciplined. They've trained themselves to do the work whether it's exciting or not. When you choose discipline, you choose control. You stop being a victim of your emotions. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop letting comfort dictate your destiny. You become dangerous because you can rely on yourself. And that's rare, because we live in a world addicted to comfort. We're told to take it easy, don't stress, live a little. But the truth is, comfort kills more dreams than failure ever could. Comfort makes you soft. It keeps you stagnant. It whispers, you can do it tomorrow, until you wake up 10 years later wondering where the time went. Discipline, on the other hand, is uncomfortable, but that's exactly why it works. Every time you push through resistance, you grow. Every rep at the gym, every hour studying, every late night working, every moment you choose growth over distraction, that's you leveling up. That's you sculpting the next version of yourself. The glow-up people notice on the outside the confidence, the calm, the power that's just the visible result of the discipline they never saw. They didn't see you dragging yourself out of bed when you were exhausted. They didn't see the weekends you stayed home to work. They didn't see the nights you doubted yourself but kept going anyway. Discipline changes how you move, it builds self-respect. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce a simple truth: you can trust you. Most people can't. They say they'll start on Monday, and they don't. They say they'll quit a bad habit, and they don't. They break their own word so many times that they stop believing in their potential. Discipline restores that belief. It's proof that you are who you say you are. That's the real glow-up, not the body, not the car, not the watch. It's the energy that comes from knowing you're solid. That no matter what happens, you've got yourself. And here's the thing, discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. You train it like a muscle. You start small, waking up early, sticking to a workout, setting boundaries, finishing what you start. Every small win compounds. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you make it easier next time. Eventually, it becomes your default mode. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You'll slip, you'll have off days, but discipline isn't about never falling, it's about never staying down. It's about saying, I messed up, and getting right back on track. When you master discipline, you stop chasing dopamine. You stop needing validation, you start enjoying the process. You find peace in repetition, pride in progress, and joy in doing the hard things, because that's what builds character. That's what makes you unshakable. And that's why discipline is the real glow-up, because it transforms you from the inside out. It gives you structure when life feels chaotic. It gives you strength when you're tired. It gives you direction when you're lost. It's the difference between people who talk about success and people who live it. You want to shock people. Don't tell them your plans, show them your discipline. Let them see your results. Let them wonder how you managed to reinvent yourself. Let them think it's luck, genetics, or timing. You'll know it was discipline, and don't expect everyone to understand it. When you start living with discipline, people will call you too serious, too focused, too obsessed. That's fine. Let them laugh, because one day they'll ask you how you did it, And you'll tell them the truth they don't want to hear. You just didn't quit. Discipline is freedom. It's the freedom to design your life instead of being dragged through it. The freedom to choose who you become. The freedom to look in the mirror and feel proud, not guilty. That's the kind of glow-up that no filter can fake. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, it's not overnight. It's waking up early, eating clean, reading when you'd rather scroll, saying no when everyone else says yes, focusing on your mission instead of chasing attention. It's small, boring actions that compound into something extraordinary. So forget about the shortcuts, forget about the hacks, forget about trying to impress anyone. The glow-up you're looking for starts the moment you get disciplined enough to do the work every single day. And one day, when you walk into a room and people can feel that energy, that calm, that confidence, that power, they'll say, "You've changed," but you'll know you didn't change, you just finally became who you were always meant to be. That's discipline, that's the real glow up. Let me tell you something that most people will never understand. Obsession is not unhealthy. Mediocrity is. You see, society has done a great job at convincing you that being balanced and normal is the goal. That you should take it easy, enjoy life, and not take things too seriously. But the people who say that are the ones who already gave up on becoming something great. Because the truth is, if you want to achieve anything extraordinary, you have to become obsessed. Not interested, not curious, obsessed. Obsession means you breathe it, think it, live it. It means your goals occupy your mind when you wake up and follow you when you go to sleep. It means you stop needing external motivation because your fire burns from within. That's the difference between average and exceptional. The average person does what's convenient. The exceptional one does what's necessary no matter how they feel. When you become obsessed, people start to distance themselves. They'll say you've changed, they'll say you're doing too much, they'll say you've lost balance, but what they'll never admit is that your commitment makes them uncomfortable, because your obsession reminds them of everything they're not doing. It shines a light on their excuses, so they'll try to pull you back down, not out of hate, but out of insecurity. Don't let them. You have to get comfortable with being misunderstood. You have to accept that chasing greatness looks crazy to people who settled for average. When they're sleeping, you're studying. When they're watching Netflix, you're working. When they're talking, you're silent building. You stop chasing validation and start chasing results, and yeah, it's lonely. It's repetitive, it's exhausting, but obsession is what separates those who talk from those who dominate. You think Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Iman Gadzhi, or any of the greats had balance? No. They were consumed by their vision. They sacrificed the short-term pleasures most people crave so they could have long-term freedom most people will never taste. Obsession is a form of love for your craft, your potential, your mission. It's not about working 24/7 for the sake of it. It's about aligning every part of your life toward one goal. You eat for it, you train for it, you think for it, you speak for it, you live for it. Every move has purpose. Every day has direction. When you reach that level of focus, something shifts inside you. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You stop waiting for the perfect time, you create it. You stop being scared of failure because you're too committed to the process. You realize that obsession doesn't make you weak, it makes you unstoppable. People will call it arrogance. They'll say you're too into yourself. But they won't understand the hours you've put in when no one was watching. They won't understand how many nights you've questioned yourself but kept going anyway. They won't see the sacrifices, the relationships you lost, the comfort you gave up, the peace you traded for progress. They'll only see the result, the success, and call it luck, but you'll know the truth. You'll know that your results were built on years of relentless obsession. Every breakthrough you achieve will be a direct result of the nights you stayed focused while everyone else was distracted. Obsession rewires your mind. It kills laziness. It replaces "I can't" with "I will." It turns pressure into power. You stop being driven by feelings and start being driven by purpose. You start moving differently. You walk differently. You talk differently. You become a different breed, the kind of person who doesn't need to announce what they're doing because their work speaks for itself. That's the thing. Obsession creates identity. It's not something you do, it's something you become. You become the writer, the athlete, the entrepreneur, the creator, not because you say it, but because you live it every single day. And the more obsessed you get, the less you need recognition. You start doing it for the process, not the praise. You start loving the grind itself, the early mornings, the late nights, the discipline, the setbacks, the small wins. You fall in love with becoming better even when no one notices. That's when you become unstoppable. because the truth is, obsession isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. You don't need to be the most talented. You just need to be the one who refuses to quit. You keep showing up, you keep improving, you keep refining, and eventually people who used to overlook you will have no choice but to respect you. And here's the irony: once you make it, once you achieve what you've been chasing, those same people who told you to chill will say you're so lucky. But luck didn't wake up early. Luck didn't sacrifice sleep. Luck didn't grind through the pain. You did. That's what obsession really is: the courage to go all in when everyone else is playing it safe. It's betting on yourself when no one else will. It's choosing purpose over comfort every single day. And when you live like that, something incredible happens. You outgrow fear. You stop worrying about what people think. You stop needing approval because you finally realize that your life is yours, your vision is yours, your purpose is yours. You become untouchable not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. You've built momentum, you've built belief, you've built power from discipline, pain, and patience. And when you reach that level, people will look at you and say, you've changed, but they won't understand you didn't change, you evolved. You became a different breed, one that doesn't give up, one that doesn't settle, one that refuses to live a life that's anything less than extraordinary. So if you're watching this right now and you feel like your obsession is isolating you, understand this: that's the point. You're separating from average, you're shedding everything that no longer fits your future. You're becoming dangerous, focused, disciplined, driven. Stay obsessed, stay misunderstood, because one day the same people who thought you were crazy for believing in yourself will be calling you a genius for proving them wrong.